With the lack of clarity around what budget might be available to Erik ten Hag next season, funds, ownership, all that sort of stuff completely up in the air, United might be best served dipping into the loan market again. Now, it's something that we've seen an increasing amount of loans used at the club. Is something that United never used to do. The first one I can really remember was Henrik Larsson being a loan that we actually brought in. But it's something that has been increasingly used and has been increasingly high profile in its usage as well. We've seen many a high profile player coming and going from the Premier League out on loan. And I think you can get some really, really good players in on a loan, although trying to find the right players that could go on loan is very tricky because you're looking for someone that's maybe been a little bit ostracised, a little bit maybe not used for purpose. Somewhere something's gone wrong, be it at the club or with the player themselves. So you're not looking at something that's absolutely stellar and perfect. You're looking at, can we use that situation to our advantage? And it's unlikely that United are going to fork out the money for every single player that we need. And you're looking at some bloated squads or sort of mismanaged squads where you can probably find the sort of player that you might be able to go and get on loan. But there are opportunities out there. There's definitely opportunities that can be found to bring somebody in and for them to make an impact. The first one I'm going to talk about is Gianluca Scamacca. Now, it's a striker that we covered quite a lot of on scout reports, and it's been interesting watching him. He hasn't really been suited to the way David Moyes plays. He was dubbed the next Zlatan when he was signed because there's a lot of similarities to his game. 6'5" was a big one. He's got excellent hold-up play. It's probably his main strength, and he's developed that immensely. He's got a real sweet first touch, and he's now able to receive those more difficult passes in the air, and he's got stature to sort of fend off opponents. He is a bit of a force in the box. He's a real aerial threat. He's got a thunderous strike. When it's hit, it stays hit. And he's proven to be a pretty effective decision maker when he's got his back to goal, not only looking to help bring the team in, but also looking for avenues where he can help advance the ball into the channels and that. Really underrated ability to get himself and the ball in tight spaces when his crowds are defenders. Hasn't got the same sort of raw power that Haaland has got, but he's wiry and he's agile and has got enough speed to get away from defenders. He's heavily linked with a move to Roma, but I think if there's any sort of deals going between United and West Ham this summer, and I don't know why, maybe it's because it makes sense for us. Like Harry Maguire to West Ham's not the craziest transfer that any of us would ever see. I think having Scamacca come on loan would be a very, very shrewd move and a way for United to bolster the attack that's probably not going to see two striker options signed this summer. Second one would be Ryan Gravenberch. So 21 years of age, gone to Bayern Munich from Ajax, and it hasn't worked out. But he's also the sort of player, or the type of player, or the actual player, that has actually worked with Erik ten Hag before. So Erik ten Hag knows his kid's character, knows his culture, knows what he's all about. And he's a 6'2", box-to-box midfielder that's very agile, quick with his feet. He's got a lot of the positive traits of his game reminiscent of Paul Pogba. And it isn't just about the accolades and the experience that he already attained as a teenager, but the scary prospect that he can become. He already improves us, and the ceiling is high. You just haven't seen it at Bayern Munich because I don't know if you noticed, Bayern Munich have got a bit of a squad, a little bit of a squad where you going in as a 20-year-old central midfielder is hard work. Whereas you coming here to compete with McTominay and Fred, well, I'm going to be honest, it's not the same level of work that you need. In his Ajax days, he operated in the double pivot on the left-hand side and was a complete all-rounder in regard to his movement. He helps up in the build-up phase. He drops into the back line. He helps create numerical advantages, overloads, whether that's attacking or defending. He's great at receiving the ball on the turn, very, very technical, can drive the ball forward, advances it nicely, links up really well on the left-hand side. That's probably where the Pogba sort of similarities come in. And it can link play in the final third. You could see him being a force as a playmaker in the 6, a box-to-box 8, or even as a 10. He's an excellent progressive passer, really looks to break lines whenever he gets on the ball. The best mode of progression for him is probably dribbling. He's an excellent dribbler of the ball from the middle. And he has real good disguise on his passes as well. Doesn't telegraph everything he's going to do. Very, very silky footballer. Good decision making. Very, very high ceiling. And I think he fits into any system, and particularly fits into any Erik ten Hag system, because he is the modern day midfielder, a prototype, capable, playing in the double pivot, forward thinking, happy to drive it forward, all the attributes to come, a real force as an 8 and a midfield 3. And it feels like the English Premier League suits him even more than the Eredivisie or Bundesliga did. Certainly one that I think you could be getting on loan. And again, that's the sort of type of profile of player. I really tried to look at Chelsea to see if there was anyone at Chelsea, because their bloated squad's going to see all sorts of loans going out from it very soon. Wasn't anyone that really caught my eye. But I do have another one, and it's going back up front. I think that's where you're going to find some gold, actually, with strikers. And that's Hugo Ekitike. And that's PSG's 20-year-old striker, fallen out of favour, or never really hit the ground running because he isn't Neymar, Mbappe or Messi. Going to PSG as a youngster was probably quite questionable. Was linked with a move to Newcastle and a big money move last summer. Didn't materialise. Due to his height, he's 6'3", he looks skinny. Which might concern you about his physicality. He's probably still growing into his body. I think he'll fill out more. I think he'll put muscle weight on. I think it'll change his appearance, and I think it'll also change his game a little bit. But even now, he knows how to use his body well. He uses it really well to protect the ball when you don't think he's really got that in him. In terms of jumping and aerial threat, most of it comes from his height rather than being too talented at duels. He jumps and challenges well. There's a natural athlete in him. The timing and body positioning does hurt him a little bit at times, but running is effortless for him. He is quick. He's a powerful runner, and he is a dribbler. That's got a very, very high ceiling with that. He's got a sensational first touch, really good awareness of where the defenders are around him. Makes him really good at evading that pressure, combining with the dribbling ability that he's got, the body movement that he's got, and he's very direct. And I think people latch on to very, very direct players. He manages to create shooting opportunities for himself in and around the box. But like I said, unless you're, the who's who of football in elite, getting an opportunity at PSG isn't easy. But he's a really promising player. Very raw. But if you brought him in on loan to be your second striker, I think you'd be happy with him, to be honest. I think he would do bits for you. I think he'll develop into a much stronger player and be more known than he currently is. But there's 3 options. Now, I don't think you're getting all 3. I'd be surprised if you got 2, if anything. But I thought, let's just think outside the box a little bit here, because it won't be as easy as everyone's assuming. You are going to have to try and cut your cloth accordingly. So there you go. 3 loan options. Let me know if you're taking any of them. See you in the next one. Hey, thank you for watching the video. If you are new around these parts, then don't forget to subscribe. My channel is proudly supported by my community on Patreon. If you'd like to get a little bit of extra content, a Discord group, meetups, 5-a-side games, weekly podcasts, behind the scenes, and even an occasional bit of transfer news as and when I get it, then for the price of a pint, you can show your appreciation for the content that we make and get some goodies for doing so as well. Check the link in the description or click the button right here. You'll also find all of my socials here too if you want to follow me on any of those platforms. Nice one.